Hey guys, this is Ryan with TrendLizard.com coming to you again. We just did a video. I'm going to do another one, this time for Lautaro. Lautaro, thanks for sending me the email. I've got 3 tickers I'm going to take a look at for you today. The first one is copper, continuous contract of copper, as you can see here, and then 2 ETFs, one QVAL, value shares, quantitative value ETF, and then QMOM, which is momentum shares, quantitative momentum ETF. So it's kind of comparing value versus momentum on 2 different ETFs. A very interesting idea. Thanks for sending those to me. I'm going to take a look at it all for you, starting right now with copper. So copper has data that goes back further than the data that I have through stockcharts.com. Our data goes back to 1980, but it gives us what we need. Starting back in 1980, if you were to draw a line over the next 20 years, basically you had this up and down long-term directionless price action that doesn't mean much to us. Looks like counter trend action. That's really all I care about. What really turned for copper was in 2001 when it started this very large trendy 5-wave advance. Now we know 5-wave patterns play out in the direction of the trend, so needless to say, this 5-wave move looks like a trendy move to the upside. And the price change certainly backs that up. Since 2006, it has had a lot of back and forth swings, something similar to what's going on here. But that appears to have changed in 2020. We're starting to see some more strength to the upside, a little more impressive. It's now testing the long-term high, and there's reason to believe that it's going to continue higher. So what it looks like to me is that off that 2006 high, we've had a very large A, B, C, D, E triangle. This is how we label triangles in the Elliott wave theory. They're 5-wave moves, but sideways contracting moves that are labeled with numbers instead of letters. Obviously, this is a 5-wave move, very different. A, B, C, D, E is a 5-wave move to the side, a contracting form, again, that fits as a triangle. Let's go ahead and zoom in and look a little. Okay, so here's a closer look at that triangle pattern. So it's not really a 5-wave pattern. It does play out in 5 waves, A, B, C, D, and E, but it's a sideways pattern. It's not an up trendy move. The 3 big differences when you have a triangle pattern, each leg in that pattern is an ABC move. It's a 3-wave move. You can see ABC for A, ABC for B, ABC for C, so on and so forth. They're all 3-wave moves. The other difference is it trades sideways. And the final difference is that you have a contraction here. So when we look closely at this move, it sure looks like a triangle, especially noting how different things have become in 2020 as it's kicked off to the upside. So we're calling this a completed triangle pattern with the start of a new trendy up move to the upside that is not yet complete. So let's go ahead and zoom in and focus on what's happened off the 2020 low. This looks like a trendy move off that 2020 low. Every up leg looks like a 5-wave move internally. So you have wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and wave 1 you can see plays out in 5 waves. Wave 3 plays out in 5 waves, so on and so forth. It looks like we might have had another small triangle pattern here in 2021 for wave 4, and now it's headed off to the upside again. So this looks bullish. The concern is that it could be getting closer to the end of the 5-wave move. This particular leg here looks like it's very small relative to the other trendy up moves that have played out. So the expectation is for it to grow quite a bit bigger before it's over. What you want to do, you can certainly own this guy. You can certainly be bullish on this guy as long as it's trading above 4.10. That's the number we're looking at. If it moves below there at any point, we'll have to be concerned that this entire up leg off of March's low has completed, and now a much larger counter trend pullback has begun to the downside. That would be the concern there. So I am bullish on copper as long as it's trading above 4.1. If it moves below there, we'd have to expect a much larger pullback, something down into this yellow area that you can see here. This yellow area just represents a Fibonacci retracement of this up leg right here. What does that mean? It means if it were to retrace 38.2% of this up leg, it would end right here. If it was to retrace 61.8% of this up leg, it would end right here. The pullback would. And those are basically the bars of a Fibonacci retracement. That's obviously another video, certainly one that we have on our channel, but something you can look into. Point is, if it moves below 4.1, we'd have to expect a much larger counter trend pullback from there. So bullish on copper as long as it's trading above 4.1. So let's go ahead and move on. We're going to take a look at QVAL now. Here's a look at that. It was incepted back in 2014, has had some back and forth, kind of similar to copper. Had a very bad start to the year in early 2020, but since it put it that low in March 2020, it's been on a tear to the upside, an absolutely beautiful move, basically going from 15 up to 34. So the main thing that jumps out at me when I look at this chart here is the counter trend nature of this pullback. Despite how massive it was, despite the fact that it cut the value of QVAL in half, it was still always a counter trend move. You had a three-wave move here to the downside, a three-wave move to the upside, all staying fairly close to that high. And yeah, it was a brutal down move, but still, it's just a three-wave move. So no matter how it feels, if it's a counter trend move, it's a counter trend move, and that has borne out since the low was recorded in 2020, because that entire decline has been retraced by a very strong recovery. So it just comes back to the basics of Elliott wave. Three-wave moves are counter trend moves. Five-wave moves are trendy moves. You want to trade in the direction of the five-wave moves. Ideally, as a new five-wave move is starting, obviously something in this area would have been a good time to buy, as long as you had some trendy price action right here to buy it. So let's go ahead and zoom in. We're going to focus on the advance off the 2020 low to see what we can find out. Here it is. Here's a look at that advance. Here's that brutal decline in early 2020. It was a rough start to the move, but I still believe it's trendy price action. A lot of times you will see kind of a choppy, unclear, overlapping price move for wave one, and generally those are leading diagonals. They seem to happen fairly frequently in this market. It's not the most common thing, but when you get a move that's this developed, it's pretty clear that this was a leading diagonal. Back to the point, we're looking for the formation of a five-wave move off of the 2020 low. We have wave one, we have wave two, we appear to be in wave three. Once wave three completes, we'll get a fourth wave pullback, and after the wave four pullback completes, we will get a fifth wave up to complete a very large trendy move. At that point, you probably want to sell this guy if you own it, but the point is we're looking for the completion of a five-wave move as shown in blue, and until we get it, higher prices have to be expected. Again, it looks like we're in the third wave of this advance right now off of June's low. That was the only real notable pullback that's taken place over the last 13, 14 months or so. So that fits as wave two. And again, we're in wave three. We appear to be getting near the end of a five-wave pattern for wave three, so we'll have to be on guard for that. But until there's indications of a high, we'll consider wave three to still be in play. Now, a move below 31 at any point would be a good indication that wave 4 to the downside has begun, that wave 3 completed, and wave 4 has begun. Once wave 4 begins, we would be looking for a move down into this yellow area, again, a Fibonacci retracement area, from 26 to 29. So if we get a move below 31, we're looking for a move down here before wave 4 completes. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more, take a look at price action to the upside here, which appears to be the fifth and final wave of the wave 3 advance. This move does not appear complete. It appears to have completed waves 1 and waves 2, and higher prices are expected. It actually fought off the market sell-off today, so that's a good sign. I'm not surprised to see value shares outperform with what happened today, which was a market pullback, especially on tech and some of those momentum shares. So this is good stuff. There's still good reason to think that higher prices are coming. When we come in onto a shorter time frame like this, we can see that actually a move below 32.25 would be a warning sign, because if that happens at any point in time, any type of pullback we're in would no longer fit as a fourth wave. It would move below wave 1's low. It would retrace this up leg by more than it should. So a move below 32.25 would be an early warning sign that this third wave advance is completed and a fourth wave pullback has begun. Again, overall, we're bullish. We expect a five-wave move to form, but keep an eye on those levels. A move below 32.25 at any point would suggest that a fourth wave pullback has begun. But as is, higher prices need to be expected. Wave 3 up on this time frame does not appear to be over yet. So there is that one. We are going to take a look now at QMOM, which is the Momentum Shares Quantitative Momentum ETF. That's a whole bunch of words. Really the only thing you need to pay attention to, if you're not Lao Taro, the one who requested this, is that it's a momentum play. If you're trying to invest in momentum stocks, it's an interesting trade. You can see what's happened off the 2020 low here. It went from about 21 up to 67. Obviously rode the momentum stocks pretty well. So there's that, but let's look at what has happened and what is going to happen for QMOM, kind of fun to say, since its inception. So incepted back in late 2015, had a pullback. From there, stabilized itself, gave us a nice 5-wave advance to the upside, and then maybe one of the most clear things that's happened for the QMOM is this 3-wave pullback that's played off the 2018 high into the 2020 low. So this again established that the trend was up because we were getting 3-wave pullbacks. And then from there, if you had any doubts before, the advance off the 2020 low, excuse me, really proved that the trend was up. A huge up move to the upside. It's not super obvious from this time frame where we are in this 5-wave move, but it's bullish action. At least it was into the 2021 high. Let's go ahead and zoom in and look a little bit closer at this action off of 2020. Here it is. So again, it's not the most obvious thing, but I think you have to kind of put it into the right context to sometimes find the right labeling. By looking at this, I would have thought that this 5-wave move was not over. But when you get this large pullback that's happened in 2021, I think it makes it fairly obvious the 5-wave move ended here. This is a huge pullback to the downside that's taken place in 2021. So the only objective conclusion, in my view, is that this 5-wave advance completed at the 2021 high and that a much larger counter-trend pullback has begun to the downside here, and that is supported by what's happened off the 2021 high. We'll zoom in and take a look. I'll show you why. So here it is. Here's that high that happened in 2021. You have the sharp down leg. I actually think it's a 3-wave move, which is a good sign. It looks like a counter-trend down move. But here's the linchpin right here. The recovery off of March's low. Look at this thing. I mean, this thing has moved dead sideways. It might have been another triangle. That seems to be the theme with what we're looking at here for you, Lautaro. But it looks like an A, B, C, D, E move. That's what I'm seeing. Honestly, it doesn't matter how you want to label it. It's a counter-trend move. I mean, if you tried to call something like this trendy, you're doing it wrong. I mean, you need to call it what it looks like, and this is a sideways move. If you were to draw a line across it, it would hit that line several times. Clearly a counter-trend move. Broke down big today. Excuse me. Down over 5% on the day, and it's not far from the low. So, I mean, this could be the start of a larger C-wave decline to the downside. If we take one step back out, we look at this yellow Fibonacci area. This area tells us where a low should occur if all we're getting is a retracement of this large 5-wave advance here. Again, this is a Fibonacci retracement area. It runs from about 38 up to 50. It represents where a Fibonacci retracement of this up leg would occur. So clearly, wave A down, this choppy action's wave B, might have started wave C down. We want to see wave C find a low somewhere above 38, basically, somewhere in this yellow area. And as long as this move overall is left as a 3-wave move, A, B, C move, and turns back up, that would be the buying opportunity. Right now, I wouldn't touch this guy. It's clearly set up for additional weakness off the 2021 high. Maybe it continues back and forth. Maybe it heads directly lower. Either way, lower levels have to be expected before QMOM finds its ultimate low and begins its uptrend anew. So I hope that's helpful, Lautaro. Ryan from TrendLizard.com. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you again very soon. Bye.